Hey everybody, it's Christopher Small, the Unconventional Attorney. Today we're going to talk about how I learned a new practice area. Before we get to that though, I want to remind you, if you are not subscribed to the world's greatest law firm owner newsletter of all time, what are you doing? Go subscribe. theunconventionalattorney.com/newsletter. Every week I send you some goodness and it's good, right? Go check it out. theunconventionalattorney.com/newsletter. All right, today's topic comes from a question that I saw in a different law firm owner group. I must admit, my feelings are hurt. I'll come and ask in the Unconventional Attorney group. You know, that's where all the cool law firm owners hang out. So come ask in there so that I don't have to, I'm answering your question anyway, so I guess it doesn't matter. So the question was, there's actually two questions rolled up into this. Maybe I'll talk about the other one tomorrow. The main question though was, hey, I'm a corporate attorney and I want to get into estate planning. What has anybody done this before? What resources did you use? How did you get into it? And that was the question. Okay. And in this other group where it was being asked, the reason it was being asked in that group is that's a group that sells estate planning, marketing, and also education altogether, which is fine. Not what I do, because it's not necessary, but it makes people feel warm and fuzzy. But I digress. Anyway, I need to stop before I get way off track. But in any event, I wanted to answer the question, but to write the answer out takes too long. And I remembered that I have this podcast and I can answer the questions right here and take as long as I need to. So that's what we're going to do. If you recall, if you don't know much about me, I used to own a criminal defense and personal injury law firm. I started that firm in 2009 when I sold it in 2015. At that time, it was making in the mid to mid upper six figures per year. It was a good firm, good practice, thriving practice. I didn't want to do it anymore though. So I got out, sold it, and I started in estate planning practice with basically no experience. I think I had done one estate plan when my first year out of school back in Kansas. This was in Seattle, and I just switched gears, like boom, just switched. And the way that I did that was pretty straightforward, but I wanted to share that here with you. And before I even get to that, I want to make an important point, because I don't want you to hear what I'm about to do and either get freaked out or think that's not the way it's going to work or whatever. For most practice areas, if you have been practicing law for any amount of time, think about how you learned your first practice area. That's how you're going to learn your second practice area. And if the way you learned your first practice area was just go rely on somebody to tell you what to do all the time, you can't do that. You're going to have to do something else. Okay, you have to do it the other way, which is to just go learn it. You know, if you're a practicing attorney, you're no dummy. Okay, just have some confidence. Okay, pick yourself up by your bootstraps and start learning the thing. Okay, so what I did, I just bought a book. I've got the book. I'll show you all my books. I'll show you a couple of books. I bought a book on Amazon, but I didn't go for the lawyer book. Okay, I went and I bought the consumer book. I went to basically got estate planning for dummies. Okay, and this is what I got. It's backwards on here. It's estate planning basics, no-low. Okay, it's literally written for people. The Wall Street Journal calls this one of the simplest and best overviews of the estate planning process. That's exactly what I was looking for. Okay, so I got that book and I started reading it. I read it all the way through. I got a highlighter. I started taking notes, and when I got through it, I read it again. And then when I got through it, I read it again. Okay, I read through it so many times that eventually I started to understand what was in there. I started to be able to define the terms and understand the things before I got to the end, and it gave me a really good sort of broad general idea of the estate planning process. Here's the thing that we don't want to admit as attorneys: pretty much every single practice area is like that. Okay, you're doing very, very similar things over and over and over again with random issues popping up from time to time that you go figure out in the moment. So all you really need to learn is the general process. You need to learn how things work. How do you make a plan? How do you file a divorce? How do you, what's that process look like? How do you create an LLC? I don't know. How does immigration law work? This stuff is not rocket science. You can go find the basics. You can go find the general steps. So just go and start looking and reading. Be curious. Just be a learner. Okay? Now, and this may be, what I'm going to tell you next might be estate planning specific, because I don't know. And by the way, this also just might be me being egotistical about estate planning, but like, I don't think you're going to run into all these different issues with like a divorce, for example, or with like creating an LLC, only because you just have only so many things you can do. With estate planning, what makes it a little bit difficult potentially is that you have more different things you can do. I wouldn't worry about the more different things that you can do. What is a diving board and a cannonball here? I don't even know what that means. I don't even know what that means, Norman. Silly. But I also went and bought one of these. One of these big, fancy legal books, these treatises, one of these thick fellows. I think I actually bought 2 of them. And then I did the same thing. I started reading, and I kept reading, and I read it again, and I read it some more, and I read it some more, until I understood what was going on. All right? So if you're trying to pick up a new practice area, if you're trying to transition into a new practice area, that is the thing to do. Just pick up a book and start reading it. Okay, now, that's not all I did, though. I did some other things that you can do them too. These are sneaky tips, actually. What I did was I would go to the library and I would check out a couple of old CLE informational packets, and I would just read them. Same thing. Particularly when I was doing probate. That would be good for divorce. Anything that's process-driven, bankruptcy, Norman does bankruptcy, immigration. The CLEs are going to be good because you're going to be able to find these CLEs that are like from beginning to end a bankruptcy case. And they'll just lay out everything for you. All the forms are in there. Everything's in there. It's amazing. Okay. The other thing that I did was I got on the listserv. Okay. If you have a good listserv, get on it. You don't have to ask questions. Just make sure that you check the box so you get all of the questions and all of the responses. And then what I used to do was I started out reading the questions and having no idea what the responses were. Then I would see the responses and I would learn. Then when the questions came in, I started anticipating the responses, guessing the responses. When I started to be right a lot, then I started to respond more. I actually started to respond to the questions. Each of those levels of expertise began to build over time quite easily and sort of quite naturally, because I was being exposed to novel questions. I was being forced to sort of think on my feet. I wasn't getting just a cookie cutter question. And slowly but surely, my expertise grew. So if you want to do it, the key is just do it, okay? You don't need to go on a Facebook group and ask. You don't need to go anywhere. You just need to start learning, all right? Hopefully like that. Hopefully that made sense. You can really learn any new practice area that you want. I would encourage you, though, to stick with the one that you got. If you have questions about that, let me know. My new practice area, just jumped into it. Got it. Yeah, I did just jump into it. I literally did. On December 31st, I was a criminal defense attorney. On January 1st, I was an estate planning attorney. That's how I roll. But that's it. All right, so if you like this video, as always, hit the like button. If you know someone needs to hear this, please share it with them. If you have a question or comment, please leave it. I will answer it. And if you're not subscribed to the world's greatest law firm owner newsletter of all time, what are you doing? theunconventionalattorney.com/newsletter. All right, that's it. As always, I am Christopher Small. I am the Unconventional Attorney. Thank you for your time. Thank you for your attention. I appreciate you, and I will talk to you again soon. See ya.